Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collected podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Welcome to Ouch My Wallet for September 25th, 2019, part of the TF Talk Network. It's a weekly show where we talk about the latest goodies we've gotten in for Transformers mostly, maybe a few other little things. I'm your host as always, or as usually, not necessarily always, Rob, and with me is Lucas.
Hey.
And Paul.
Hi.
Hi. So, it's been kind of a slower week for people. I kind of feel like after all the Hasbro, the San Diego Comic-Con, that deluge of stuff, I think it might finally start to be slowing down just a little. Maybe a little bit.
No, it's just a calm before the storm, Rob.
Is that all it is?
If you're a Siege collector, the street date for Siege, the newest wave, I think, is like October 1st. And so all that's going to start hitting next week.
Got it.
Yeah, there is a ton of stuff coming in October, like just a smorgasbord, and Ratchet's coming.
In theory,
it's got to be. They always hit in October every year because, well, people will not like me when I tell this story, but for TFCon Chicago, I think not the last one, but the one before, Brainstorm hit Walgreens in Chicago the day before. And so me and my buddy Shane just ransacked the city and found all of them. We had 20. We brought them to TFCon, and we were the only ones that had them. So imagine what we did with that. But
I suspect you sold it for money. Just gonna go on a limb there.
Reasonable amounts.
Well, I hope the Ratchet does finally hit. I've been slowing down on my, chuggish buying, but I'm still interested in the Ratchet at least. But so is next month Spinister and Eight Face, that wave of stuff supposed to hit?
No, that's supposed to be either December or January. It's stuff you already forgot about. It's Mirage and Impactor and Barricade.
I forgot about all those for a reason.
Well, yeah, you probably don't care, but a lot of people want Barricade.
Yeah.
A lot of people want Mirage, and the 3-pack is supposed to hit the other Mirage and Impactor and it's not Chromar, it's the Power Dasher. They have such weird names, I can't remember them.
I can't remember that.
Aragorn or something.
Aragon, yeah. So I thought they were going to do all Lord of the Rings names.
Yeah.
When they revealed that one.
That'd be cool. All right. Hey Zale joining us in chat. He says New York Comic Con is this weekend as well, so be interesting. Are we supposed to learn about the next wave?
No, it's next weekend.
The next weekend. Got it.
Yeah. New York Comic Con, we're supposed to learn about Siege Phase 2, whatever that's going to be called. But and then the Walmart exclusives are going to be hitting next week too. So they have those cell shaded Optimus, Megatron, the Blue Streak, and Sound Blaster that are all going to should be hitting too.
That's a first I think we've seen from Hasbro officials. So I'm not going to buy them, but I'm interested in how they turn out. Is the paint going to be good, or is it going to be chipped and or blurry, or outside the lines? It'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
There's some videos and there's some content with them out there because some people have them, but they look neat enough to me.
Yeah.
But let's see them in hand and know for sure.
Yeah, I think the Optimus looked really good. The Megatron, I'm not sure about until I get it in hand, but Optimus looked great.
Cool. All right, well, I'm going to kick it off this week because I'm the host and I could do things like that.
Woo!
This is for you, Paul. I'm glad you were able to make it to the show. This is ancillary to collecting, so it's nothing exciting, but I got some more acrylic risers for my shelves. got in a set of 7. They packed them with trash bags, which is a weird thing, but I have a lot of like small ones, and then every now and again I need some bigger ones. That way, like especially for like where I have like Omega Supreme or not Omega Supreme, the DX9 version. Like I put these big risers next to it so I can put figures on top and underneath. Kind of make up use of my vertical space. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, so this was
okay. So
this is a nice set of 7.
Where did you get yours? And the thing I can tell you about mine, which I get mine from the Container Store, and they're not cheap. Like this is like $10 or more. But they're really great. But mine look a little shallower than yours. Yours look like it has another inch or 2 on the bottom.
Well, it may be hard to pick up on the webcam, but this is a set of 7, and each one gets smaller and smaller as it goes
Very
down.
nice.
They're all squarish. I get mine off of eBay, and I bargain hunt on eBay. That set of 7 was $30.
Oh, that's great. That's great because it looks like it's the same plexiglass that has a 90-degree bend.
Now, I've bought I think 4 or 5 rounds of like different things from different people on eBay. Some of them are right broke, and when that happens, it's tell eBay, hey, this broke, and usually they just give me a refund because it's not worth me shipping it back, especially if it's from China. But this is actually from a U.S. seller. They also sell some like 2-inch risers that are pretty cheap, and I've gotten quite a bit of those, and I've started sprinkling those around. But so that was fun. That's again kind of ancillary to collecting, but part of it.
I think that's important because a lot of people spend a ton of money on their toys, like and have a bunch of them, and they don't really think about the presentation of it. And yeah, it sucks to spend money on that sort of thing, but like you even said before you got your shelves, you're like you didn't really care, but now that you have them up, I mean, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, it's,
for your personal well-being, really.
To me, it depends on what kind of like phase you are in your collecting, as well as a lot with your personality. For me, it was definitely like a quantity. I wanted, one of every mold. I wanted to experience every toy. That consumed my budget. I didn't have money for shelves. I didn't have money for any of that. So then as I started, my room got full, and I had to like get rid of that habit. And once I got rid of that habit, I started getting rid of a lot of toys, which also fed back into the budget. Plus I was buying less, which feeds back into the budget, to where I could then spend some money on sprucing them. I've really enjoyed how it's turned out. I got a stack of glass doors and shelves in my garage that I haven't touched in 2 months. I've been enjoying other things, but I need to get back into it. But it's definitely another part of the hobby. And more than likely, as I keep going on, I probably will just keep reducing and buying less, and just improving what I have, at least the display of what I have, and picking up a few odds and ends or upgrading a few figures. But yeah, it's a fun part of it that a lot of us don't talk about too much. But
yeah, because it seems like it's lost money. It's like, oh, I could get toys instead of shelves, but it's like the shelves last forever. They actually, if you churn your collection a lot, the shelves will be there while you put new things on them.
Yeah.
And I just think it makes you feel better about your collection.
I know
if it looks good.
Number one TFLP fan Carrie, her boyfriend's been giving her crap because her collection apparently looks like crap, and he explicitly called out. He's like, "Look behind Rob." He's like, "That's what your collection should look like." And granted, that's like the best area. That's the full glass treatment there. Even though I haven't finished the lights yet, but. Yeah, all that stuff's coming. It's another way to enjoy the hobby.
Yeah. I mean, I think in general, it makes such a huge difference. And honestly, I think that a well-curated collection like yours, Rob, that it looks nicer than if you had a couple of shelves and you had everything just kind of squeezed in there, crammed in there. Like, I think actually giving them all room to breathe just makes a big difference. But one question I have for you though, like with the way that you have your setup there, like do all of your shelves go across like at the same height? Because I notice you have Billy's. So like the acrylic risers, like why don't you just instead of using acrylic risers, just have varied shelves and like kind of group your bots by sizes and have more shelves? And so, like, does it look better to have fewer shelves, more risers?
No, I think the risers really add a depth to your collection when things in it are at different levels. like, I know it's a webcam, it's not going to pick it up great, but like I have some glass shelves on my G1 where I've worked on my risers a bit. So like right there with Jetfire, is he on camera? Can't tell. Where is it? Where are we at here? It's like backwards when I'm trying to view here. Where's Jetfire? Yeah, so you see Jetfire there? Like the Carbot's there
Mhm.
on risers, and it kind of like lifts them up and elevates them with it, as opposed to like sitting there behind it. But like the Dinobots
Mhm.
underneath it, they're not on risers, and that shelf looks a lot less interesting. So I'm gonna put risers under them. Then
I
over
gotcha.
like over here with like the mini bots, I got them on the stair steps, and a lot of the ones there in the backgrounds are on little risers and stuff. And it really, I feel like as a whole, once I get it done, it really adds a lot more to it. And I mean, I could, just try to find things that all fit the same height and line them up that way, and then honestly probably wouldn't look terrible. But this lets things breathe, and like you end up sorting by size if you do that, and I like to kind of sort by line and season and kind of stuff that goes together. And in a line or a season, there's a bunch of different heights, so it kind of naturally leads to a lot of dead vertical space unless you toss in risers.
Gotcha.
And howdy,
So,
chicken fried steak from Central Cali. Awesome. We've been out to
very
California
cool.
for BotCons back when they used to do that here.
TFCon was in LA.
Yeah, it was recently out there too. Yeah.
Yep.
The other thing I got, pretty unique here, is Action Master Elite Windmill. Yeah.
That's a new one to me.
So I'll talk about these a little bit. So most people know what Action Masters were. Tail end of G1. What's popular? G.I. Joe. How can we make Transformers? Me Too. Just like with Micromasters, which were a ripoff of Micro Machines, but for Transformers. At least in this case, Hasbro owned the property. But so they made the line of Action Masters, right? And they had backpacks that transformed and stuff. Once the line really started dying out in the U.S., over in Europe, they released the Action Master Elites, and there's 4 of them, 2 Autobots and 2 Decepticons. I actually have the 2 Autobots, and I know you've heard of the other one, Omega Supreme. I don't have either of the Decepticons, which are Double Punch, which is it's obviously supposed to be Scorponok, just like this is supposed to be Omega Supreme. And the other one is, I just blanked on his name, Turbo Master, who is obviously supposed to be Bruticus, but he's in like hot pink. He's pretty awesome. But all 4 of these are hard to find. I've actually had this windmill I got from Megamus many years ago in a trade or something, but he didn't have his weapons. And so, I've been on the hunt for the blades forever. This popped up on a seller from France. It was $60 shipped. And then after he sent it, he's like, hey, shipping ended up being cheaper, and he sent me $15 back, so I got it for $45 shipped, which is freaking awesome. These things are so hard to find. I don't know. I'm really happy to have it. I mean, granted, I've had the other one for a while. The gimmick doesn't work, but I'm going to transform it live because that's what's special about the Action Master Elites. They transform. So you push the arm up. I'm going to turn the head over. Turn this arm over. Then we bend this down and up. Tabs in. You separate that. You just let the leg hang out. Put up his tail fin. His arm slides down a bit and it kind of pegs in there. Adjust that. Put in that. And if this mechanic, let's say, kind of wants to work a little bit, but not really. Now it's a helicopter.
That is rad.
I don't know if that's a helicopter.
It's an attack helicopter. Look at that big gun.
I mean, it works. It works. It's symmetrical,
Sure.
sort of.
This is one of the better ones of the 4. I really want the Decepticons, but I haven't seen them other than like. It's weird. These are when you get into this like oddities of G1, they show up, but they're mint and packaged for like $300, $500, $700. Like loose complete's hard to find. Now Omega Supreme, even though I didn't just get him, I'm going to show you his transformation because it's terrible. Like you'll see what I mean. You fold down the leg things, then you bend him over. His head just sticks out like that. It doesn't actually go into a direction. You flip out the missiles, and then the cannon he had is really just parts forming, kind of just clips on here. Now it's a tank. That's him transformed. So now, Windmill's looking pretty awesome right now compared to this. And for some reason, Omega Supreme's gimmick, which actually still works on mine, is woo, which is pretty funny though.
Well,
Hey, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
that's
Slices and
that's
dices.
the pinnacle of '80s technology there.
Yeah. But no, that's no. I didn't figure anybody else was going to be having Action Master Windmill as their Ouch My Wallet anytime soon.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Especially for $45 complete shipped from France. That was a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about it. I mean, granted, complete they usually don't go for much more than $60-$75, but they just still never show up. It's just you have to find them. It's one of those things.
So about those like European Action Masters,
Yeah.
I remember looking on like it was like before my time, like BotCon time, But I remember looking at like old videos and stuff, and they would show dealers that had these, like I don't know, like Trax and Sideswipe and Omega Supreme and stuff like
So
mint on card, and they were like demanding four-figure prices, like $1,200, $1,500.
well, I remember back in the day before collecting Action Masters is like low on the list when you start collecting. You know what I mean? And I remember seeing Tony Prito of Tempting Toys like at BotCon year after year with these things like sealed for like $1,200. No one ever bought them. Just because you want that much for it doesn't mean you're going to get it. You know what I mean?
Well, I know it's still you could put any price tag on something, but like that stood out to me because it was such an oddity, and like who really. I'm supposed to hate Action Masters. Why is that so much money? You know, but
it's just that hard to find.
It's the nuances of hardcore collecting.
Yeah,
really.
It's one of those like supply and demand. Right. Yeah, if only 10 people want it, but only 3 exist, and they got everything else, and their hobby money's stacking up,
Well, and there's a lot of guys. I mean, I know you Rob at TFCon last year, where you brought a certain budget, and you're like, I'm only going to spend it if I can find these certain things. And what was it that you ended up getting last year? Yeah,
got it. Grandis from Transformer Land from Matt, I think his name is, and it's a beautiful piece. It's still over there. I wanted to do a video review of it. Like I actually have it scripted out, and I mean it's just pretty much me making fun of how much of a brick it is. But it interacts with the other things in that line in pretty awesome ways. And that's where the fun is, like the Star Convoy. It interacts with that a lot. Like they have like little connectors, and you put the motors on, and they like spin around and crap. It's pretty funny. I was really impressed at how much fun it is by itself. It's just a brick, but maybe one day I'll get to it. And a bit about what you were saying there, Paul. So yeah, so these are the Action Master Elites that were the 4 only came out in Europe, but there was also the other set of I think it was either 4 or 8. Action Masters that were like straight G1 guys for the most part, like Trax and Sideswipe and some others that only got released in Europe, and those are also really hard to find. Good luck finding parts. It's again like if you see them, most times they're like complete in box, or it's like here's a yellowed one missing some arm or something, or especially if the parts missing, the parts will be missing parts. So it's one of those. No, there's not a lot of demand for it, but they're still so rare to find that $70, $100 for one complete is kind of you're just happy to find it if you're into it. So.
And that's the kind of thing that I know I've heard Rick talk about. Where like finding like the extended toy line of Action Masters. He found out all the artwork and stuff. Like when he was working there, all the stuff that we maybe would have gotten if they would have continued doing it, but instead they're just like, out of here.
Done. Yep. All right, yeah. So
that's a good pickup, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun. So who wants to go next? Not all at once. All right, Lucas is.
Oh.
So I got some stuff mint on card myself here. So this is
odd that they're coming that way.
Yeah. So what is it? Autobot, Giraffe, Noizu, and Frenzy.
Yeah, those are the
and the thing
Dino Tape reissues along with the Frenzy reissue from I guess you got it from Pulse.
Yes, I did. So the thing that's odd about this is so it came to where the cards were attached, right? Like, and I guess was somebody saying, can you buy them individually or just as a pack? It's only as a pack. So,
only.
But then the other thing that's weird, and I don't know if it is it this way for all of them, but like they printed the instructions on the backwards.
Yeah.
So like. The Frenzy is on the back of the Dino cassettes, and then the Dino cassettes are on the back of Frenzy.
I think
so
that's
it's definitely one package, huh?
Yeah, it's to reinforce that it's one thing. It's not. You're not supposed to, cut it down the middle or anything.
Paul,
for whatever.
Do you really think it's one thing, or it's a goof? I'm leaning towards it's a goof, and they're just going with it.
I honestly, I could go either way.
I mean, I'm thinking like Hot Rod in his package backwards. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. It's just like, shit. Oh well.
Well, but it's not upside down.
Yeah.
If it was upside down, I'd say, oh, that's a fuck up. But I think it was somewhat intentional. And also, this was I don't know if it's rumors or confirmed, but this was supposed to be the HasCon opposite of the Reflector set for HasCon 2019. That didn't happen.
More like hasn't con.
Now, so I saw this. Just one quick story. I saw this at San Diego Comic-Con because I went there with Ryan of Sabertron.com, and they had these on the shelf, on the table, and this is the first time I'd ever seen it. I don't know. And Ryan was trying to tell me that he thought that was supposed to be an anime accurate Frenzy versus the one that already came out.
I thought it was just a G1 reissue.
Which doesn't make sense to me because if it was, I don't think it is supposed to be that, because if it was going to be anime accurate Frenzy, it would be red and black.
Red. Yeah.
But I think they used the blue one because the cartoon colors on Rumble were never quite right with the toy. But whatever they did, they didn't actually get that right. The only differences I can find of the stickers are like super vibrant on the Walmart version compared to that one, and they have slightly different tampos, like item number tampos on them.
Oh, well, now you're going to make me go. I have it over here. Where I'm trying. I have the Walmart ones over here somewhere.
Yeah, it's
have my
most obvious difference.
I have my book club one with some add-on set that I don't even remember where I got before that gives him pile drivers.
Oh yeah, those were always cool. I wish they would make official ones of those.
Yeah.
What I wonder is this supposed to be part of the Walmart line, or is this a convention exclusive one-off thing? I don't know. I don't know where to compartmentalize it in my brain.
Yeah, so this is the Walmart Frenzy. You can see that. And I don't know if it's going to get picked up on my camera that well, but the colors are definitely different.
Just on the stickers or the plastic itself?
The stickers. The stickers are different. Yeah, so it's hard to tell. Like the plastic looks like it's the same color.
Yeah. There's little white tampos that are like item numbers on the front, and they're different for each one too. If you want to know the difference. Yeah. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but there's certain people that are all about that kind of stuff. So, anyway.
Yep.
So that was my first time. Do you want me to keep going, or we want to switch to Paul?
No, keep going.
Okay, so we had a Transformers meetup locally this weekend, and so
I'm jealous that you have a community for that. Just interrupting you for a second here, just out in the middle of Tennessee, man. Like we've had a few throughout the years, but they never keep steam. It's like the first one, some people show up, but then nobody really wants to do it habitually, and then people are like, oh, I can't make it. It's 30 minutes away. Like meanwhile, I drive 3 hours to go to the ones in Kentucky sometimes to see everybody. I'm like, y'all need to shut up. 30 minutes. I wish it was 30 minutes.
Well,
but
and the thing is, so I'm trying to think how many people we have in our local Kansas City group. Let's say we have 100 people in our local group, right? And for the Facebook page, we pretty much have a core of 5 to maybe 10 people that show up. So it's pretty much, our 5 friends that get together
that's
every
awesome.
time.
The 10 is awesome.
No,
That's
still,
perfect. That's about how many show up to a typical Kentucky one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So no, it's 100% awesome, and I mean, I love I don't think that I would be where I'm at in the community today if it wasn't for the local Transformers group. They kind of sucked me in like about 5 years ago at the local Comic-Con, and so yeah. But no, it's great. Like, we have a great local community.
Is that how you met Anna as well? Because I know she's local for you.
So ironically, we actually met her at TFCon Chicago in 2016, I think. And she was actually just moving, and we just happened to run into her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm moving to Overland Park," and we're like, "Oh well, we live there." So yeah, we told her about the group and all that. So
Awesome.
Back then, so yeah, so no, it definitely worked out. So. My other item here is so this is that Cyberverse Galaxy Prime. So one of the guys is liquidating his Cyberverse collection, and
you keep saying Cyberverse. You mean Cybertron?
Or Cybertron? I'm sorry.
Okay. It looks like Galaxy Force
brain.
Prime to me. Who
yeah,
I
this
have
is
over
the
there.
Galaxy Force Prime. Yep.
Wings are upside down, bro.
Well, you know what? I just got this from the guy, so I've not transformed it. I have not done anything with it. So,
okay.
I apologize, Paul.
He's offended.
Funny thing about that is, I think a lot of the product photography had it the way you have it, which is upside down.
That is a great toy for what it's
How
worth.
do you flip it the other way?
You probably have to take the backpack off to do it.
It's probably not clearance to do it with it on.
It just looks so much cooler when he's like holding the guns and they're beneath him, like they're.
That's the only problem. He doesn't actually hold the guns.
Yeah.
But he puts his arms near them, and you imaginalize. That's a word. Him holding the guns. You imaginalize the handles.
The hybrid style one, the little like minier version of that, it does have handles there.
I don't think I've seen that. I didn't pay much attention to the hybrid style stuff.
There was only the two. There was the G1 Optimus that came after the Galaxy Force one, and the Galaxy Force one is much less known.
Okay.
But it's just as good of a toy as the giant one, just a little more fragile.
It's one that I feel like, while there's obviously some, that's always what, 10 years old, 12 years old. I don't know when Cybertron ran. I can't remember.
15, dude. Because I got that when I moved to Chicago.
Okay.
Well, it was
obviously technology's changed, styles changed, blah, 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 blah. But it's one that still has such a great aesthetic to it that it still looks dope on the shelf. That's why I had no interest in the Siege one, because I was like, man, I still like my Cybertron one. It's my Unicron Trilogy shelf is down to just 2 shelves now. I used to have like a full bookcase of it. That's one that's, I don't know. I don't have any plans of getting rid of it anytime soon. Times change, but it has such a tough look to it. I thought the Galvatron from that line did too. Both of them, they looked good together.
Definitely. Well, and I think the Armada line, like I didn't really enjoy that as much, but like this, the Cybertron line, I think is a fantastic line. Like, I really like the gimmick with the keys and all that thing, and it's just a fun line.
It gave us Primus too, which I was pretty happy with.
There's a dude.
Perfect, but for $50, it's great.
There's a dude in the local Chicago group that collects the keys, like all of them. Just as an aside.
Floats your boat, I guess.
So is it something like because there was a key for a certain fate, like he only collects keys, but not the
even the keys that look the same. There's a number stamped on the back, and different releases had different numbers. So like when I was recently got rid of a lot of Unicron Trilogy stuff. Like I said, I still kept a good bit, but like you go to tfu.info and TF Wiki, it will tell you, this comes with the Cyber Planet key with ED47 is technically the correct version of it. And try to find it and match it up. It's specific.
But yeah, so if you look, this is the new leader class, right?
Yeah.
And then this is the older one. So it's I don't know if they tried to re-release this. I mean, the amount of plastic in this thing, it's just crazy.
It'd be at least $100.
Yeah, the world has changed around those two toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the new one because it had the thing I don't like about that toy is the legs need to spread, but it did no ankle tilts. And it is the toy that has been in need of ankle tilts more than anything. If it had those, that thing would be fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing is like you can tell that this is what a 15-year-old toy, compared to the new one. So I mean honestly, if I were to only have one in my collection, I'd probably just have the new one. But yeah, it was a fun toy and it was a fun pickup. So
you mentioned Armada and that you didn't really like it. As I've been shrinking down my Unicron trilogy toys, I find myself oddly nostalgic for the first wave of Armada toys. I mean, like, I've watched that cartoon, but it's more like I sat through it as it was on, you know what I mean? Like, and it was after it already aired that I finally went back and made myself watch them. And hi, Alicia. Thanks for joining. But I like what are some of the other ones? Like what is it? What's the helicopter in that? It's not Cyclonus, is it? It is? Okay, yeah. Cyclonus and, like, Demolisher. Why My Shoulders Hurt guy. I just blanked on his name. Hotshot? Is it Hotshot? Like, I'm nostalgic for that first wave of Armada, and I can't tell you why. I don't know. I think maybe it was just, that's when I was getting back into Transformers to a degree, to a point, and that was also kind of a bit of a return for Transformers as well. Like, Unicron Trilogy really kicked it off. Like, it brought in a large wave of kids. It was a very successful line, for the brand itself, and kind of started a resurgence that ultimately led us to the Bay movies, which, while I hate them, they did amazing things for the brand. There's no denying that. So, I don't know. I was just having to think about that.
I didn't get in until the Cybertron line. And so that's when they came out with classics. The Bay movie was hitting and, the Cybertron stuff. So, like, that's kind of where I stepped in. So that's probably why I enjoy that line more than Armada, just because I have zero nostalgia for Armada.
I remember, that was back when each of those lines had their own gimmick. And I know it was a big deal, like, after that, when they're like, you know what? Transforming is going to be our gimmick. And now they've went back to gimmicks here and there, in the past 15, 20 years. But, like, Armada was Minicons. Energon was the little Energon pegs that went everywhere. And then, obviously, Cybertron was the keys. So, it was kind of I don't know, it was just interesting to see all the changes constant with Transformers, let's put it that way. I mean, I think it's the only way to keep it probably a brand alive anywho's. Yeah, so, what do you got for us, Paul?
So, I was going to say, I have one more thing.
Yeah.
So I decided that, I didn't really like MP44, so I decided instead to get a different option. So.
Nice.
So this is the one that I did it. So I finally broke down. Everyone told me not to do it. But this is the Imaginarium Art Legacy of Cybertron series Optimus Prime. So it's a statue. I
just want to clearly say I did not tell you not to get it.
That's true. Well, you didn't. Like, all of my local, so Anna and Sean and all that, Christian, were all telling me not to spend my money on something that doesn't transform.
I don't buy that argument these days. I mean, I think it's totally fine to, especially with big characters that you love. I mean, it's all the same. Shirts don't transform. You still buy Transformer shirts. Like, I don't buy that. But my question to you is, do you think you'll still have it in a year?
Well, more than likely, because it's actually a lot harder to get rid of statues than it is to get rid of toys. So, and that's the exact reason why they were like, be careful, because it is like, I mean, there's certain statues in popular lines where they go up in value, but a lot of, statues, just depending on what it is, you may have to take a loss on it. And it's just really expensive to ship this. I mean, this came in like a massive foam box. as well. So
did you have to assemble it?
Yeah. So the arms like come out, and then this is magnetized, and it
awesome.
goes on the base. So
Wow.
that's a different piece as well.
Magnets.
The gun. So, but yeah, no, it is a really awesome piece, and this is kind of the style of Transformers that I like better. Like I like the more artistic, kind of Neo look for Transformers compared to just the straight G1 stuff. So I'm really digging this, and I have not decided yet what I'm going if this will be the only one or if I'm going to do more, but we'll see.
Where are you going to put it?
In my display upstairs. So I have a couple Bestas, and so it takes up one of the Besta areas. And this is specifically why I got this line. So they have a lot of the statues are actually like twice the size of this. They're like so this is about 15 inches, and a lot of the statues are like 30 inches. And so those are actually really hard to fit on a shelf. So this one actually fits in quite a bit easier if you're going to put it into some type of display. So
Paul's looking around there, puts his statues in his windows.
No, I have a bunch of questions for you, but I'm going to rapid fire them. So you'll probably
let's go.
Okay.
Lightning
you'll probably
round.
answer like 3.5 of them. So first off, it is smaller than I thought. When I looked, I was like, oh my god, it's one of those big ones. Because that's all. When you brought it up, that's what I said. Is those statues are huge. Because when I was in Japan, I saw some of the Prime Studio statues, and they're like the size of a small car. It's just crazy. So what?
Right.
There are, when you get into the statues and stuff, there's actually a huge amount of shorts at this point. Like 500.
Like this is the MP Grimlock.
Yeah. Like if you get to those statues, it's usually like $400 to $500 and up. And there's probably there's probably 5 or 6 different like similar but not the same Optimus Primes like that. What made you choose that one? Was it specifically the size, or is there a line? And I don't even know that brand, Imaginarium Studio.
Yeah, Imaginarium Art. So they have a line of these statues. So they've already released. They've released 5. There's 2 more on the way right now. So they have 7 total right now. They're planning on doing 12 total, and so the line in total, like it's kind of hitting like the Seekers, like it has Starscream, it has Megatron, the other 2 Seekers, it has Optimus, it has Ironhide, Wheeljack, Jazz. So it has a lot of the core G1 guys, and then what it's supposed to be is it's supposed to be a battle scene of those 12, and then it has a massive Devastator that is supposed to come out as well. So, at this point, it's hard to say, like if all of them will come out or not, just because, you never know if they decide to change course or something like that. But they've released 7 so far. So the main thing for me is just the character choices that they've done, the style, and then the particular size is kind of why I chose this line.
So is it movable? Is it customizable at all? Or is that like that? It's that static pose and that's it?
This particular one, it's just this pose. Like that's it. The Ironhide one, I think, has some different accessories that you can do. But I think most of them in this particular line, like it's just this is what you get, like, and
so like even the chest windows don't open.
This one, no.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I'm not trying to be like, oh, that's picking it apart. I'm just curious because like that's something that I kind of draw the line there, not because I wouldn't buy them. It's just, like I said, space and whatnot. I kind of go, I have.
It gives you a reason to not buy it.
Well, yeah, it's like something at least shave off the edge of my collecting habits, but like the 3A toys, that's kind of where I feel like that's near there, but those are so cool because they have all these different materials and they're totally posable. And I like that. They're not quite a statue, but they might as well be. But you can make you can pose them how you want, and you can like change it up. But like with that, you can't. And I think that's fine. I think a lot of people just can't get over the fact that they need their toys to do that, and not everyone does.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that you got that. I think, like, way to go. Way to buck the fucking trend.
Well, so the 3A, I do have the 3A Bumblebee as well, the deluxe size one. And that one is really neat as well. Like the weathering on it and, the different articulation, how it moves. And that kind of the thing is that, obviously, like I have a huge chug collection and all that, but I kind of really like some of these higher end stuff just because the paint work that they have and just the style. And I think that what this can convey, like when you're just sitting there looking at it, and ultimately, like for a lot of the stuff that's in my upstairs like living room display, like honestly, like I'm gonna put that stuff in there and I'm not gonna touch it that much. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like that's where I kind of started going. I was like, you know what? Like if I'm gonna put something in here, I'm not really gonna touch it. Like why don't I just like buy the nicest looking thing and the thing that I think looks the coolest to put up in this display rather than something that kind of goes halfway. So that was kind of I was dipping my toe in this, and I figured it's an Optimus Prime. Like no matter what, like if I don't get any other statues, like it can stand on its own. Or if I decide that I really like it and all that, then I can get some other ones as well. So
I will say that.
So we'll see. I decided that.
Obviously I'm not in the statues. I'm not really interested in them, but so, my opinion, obviously doesn't overly matter. I mean, it's your collection. It doesn't matter at all. But I feel that, especially if you're just going to kind of like, your collection isn't statues. I think something like that works best as the one piece you have. Like something like you put in the center as like, here's my badass Optimus Prime statue. And then around it you have, whatever else you have around it. Instead of like, now I'm going to buy all the statues and put them all in there. I think it'll end up getting lost. As I've been reducing my collection, less is more. Like, we all say it, it's super true. And so like the more I can thin down a shelf, the better it looks. Even though it's like, I don't have everything that I used to have, it still looks better. Like I find it more appealing, and I know what's on there. So that'd be my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, Transformers as a name, they have to transform because that's the name of the brand. Well, yeah, that's true, but we also have all these characters that are awesome and this whole lore that's awesome. Batman doesn't transform, and they sell statues of Batman doing everything under the sun, and those people are super happy with it. We can, if that's how you want to enjoy this franchise, that's you can do that. You're totally able to do that. It doesn't. The transformation sometimes makes the whole thing suffer. Like the toy is the third piece of the puzzle, and it doesn't always. Something gets sacrificed. You're not sacrificing anything there. You don't need a semi-truck statue. I mean, there's no such thing as a vehicle mode statue like that. It's always the robot, the character that exists in the franchise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, no, and again, like, I mean, for me, I'm always going to have toys and all that. I just wanted to have something that was nice again, since I'm not in, I got rid of all my masterpiece and all that. I said, why not, get a statue too. So
yeah, you trade it up.
Trade it up. So.
All right, Paul.
So that's it.
Well, that was a surprise. That was awesome. I was not expecting that. Okay, so yeah, I probably look like I've been really like disinterested or something, but it's because I've been working on this thing that I can now show because I was able to find I went on a toy run right before this episode because my wife's out of town and tomorrow's my birthday, so I'm just like doing whatever the hell
Why does everybody have their birthdays like the past 2 weeks?
Because everyone
Peter
had
and Jack and now you. There was somebody else, wasn't there?
Because in the late 70s, everyone had sex on New Year's. I don't know. That's why. Well, so I found a Thundercracker in the wild, a Siege
He's missing a few
Thundercracker.
parts.
Well, yeah, because I'm just cannibalizing this toy. So I bought this, but I'm making this, and don't all jump
off that
jump up
one
at once.
page from that miscolor on the UK annual.
Yeah, which I've never heard of before until the other day, and I was like, oh my god, I think you can actually make this thing. So this is Grimscream, essentially, and he's got Megatron's cannon, and he has to have black Skywarp wings. So I need to cannibalize a Skywarp, and then I have it, and as it's coming together, it looks really cool. And when it's finally done,
neat.
I'll post it because I do a double take. I'm like, that's Grimlock. And I'm like, wait, no, it's the Seeker. And I love those
That's
kind
awesome.
of weird things where like you kind of forget how unique the color scheme, the color patterns are for some of these characters, and when you like transpose them onto someone else, it's like it like messes with your mind. And so when I saw that picture, that it was Thew that actually posted it to Twitter, and I just was shocked, and I'm like, I'm doing this. So I'm trying to do it as quickly as possible so I can be like, look, I did it. So I'm very close now. And that's kind of cool. But also,
Wait,
just
real
on
quick,
that-
before we move off that,
Yeah.
you mentioned that the colors transpose, how it kind of messes with you. That was the basis for a lot of Shattered Glass, the Fun Pup fiction. But I never really got that from really anything they did. Like, I never really felt that, like, oh man, that looks Starscream and Grimlock's colors. Like, I never felt that pull for that. Like, but that, when you held it up, that was completely different. I felt that. So I wonder what they missed. And they did a lot of Shattered Glass figures too.
well, they didn't stick to a theme. They did whatever the hell they wanted. Like, why was Jazz still white?
Because they wanted to give us a classics Jazz. But yeah, it was all backed into reasons like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they used it as an excuse to do whatever they felt like at the given time.
Well, I mean, like,
whoever was
some
making the decisions wasn't making all good ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, some of them were character swaps. Like, Starscream was supposed to be in Jetfire colors, and Cyclonus was in Hot Rod colors, and there were examples like that. But I never felt like, oh, that looks like Hot Rod. That it never. I don't know. It just felt like a red Cyclonus. Not.
I did like the Cyclonus because he had. Didn't he? Yeah, he had the spoiler. That was what kind of worked for him.
I guess with the wings, yeah. I mean, I have it over on the shelf, but
yeah, I'm finding that it's just kind of cool how some of this comes together. Like, and I'm now that I have so many parts to choose from. Like, I just decided just now to like make Thundercracker has a black piece here, and instead of the dark gray, I just swapped it out for the black. And this is kind of supposed to be like Grimlock's, dinosaur head.
Yeah.
So I put the yellow thing in there so it kind of represents his neck. You get to take some liberties. I like part swapping customs way more than anything you got to paint. Like, because I think it's just fun to be able to just easily take it apart and put it together, and you got a whole new toy. But what am I going to do with all the leftover parts? I'm thinking I'll just make other random color Seekers and just throw them on eBay for 99 cents and see if anyone buys them so I can get my money back. It'd be great. Okay, so follow that project on Twitter at Collecticon if you wish. So I picked this up at Walgreens, which I'm sure you guys are like, that's stupid, but this is Authentic Grimlock, this is the small one, which was it's been hard to find. It was only available overseas and stuff, but now it's showing up at Walgreens. So check your Walgreens if you're a Grimlock. Oh yeah, check it out. See right there?
Which
Pretty
is which?
close.
I can't tell the difference.
So Paul, now that you have all of the Starscreams, are you like, well, I got to collect all the Grimlocks now? Huh?
Oh, I already, dude. I collect Grimlock too.
Oh, I didn't realize. There you go.
I collect a lot of characters actually, but I don't collect them to the extent of Starscream. So yeah, it's a dangerous rabbit hole. If you want me to actually list it out for you sometime, what I collect, it'll make your head spin. So
it's like the exact opposite of Anna's one per character rule.
Pretty much. But I basically, if I don't collect the character, I don't have it. So I don't
Yeah.
With that. So one thing I actually got that is sort of cool is I finally was able to open one of these.
Is it the Studio Series Jetwing Prime?
Yeah, and he comes with all these accessories that turn into the. I thought this became the wings, so I was a little surprised. They combined to become the trailer.
Okay.
So, it's still the Voyager toy, and I'm pretty sure the Shockwave that's coming is going to be the same deal, where it's like a Voyager size toy, but they throw in that other shit to put it to the price point.
Yeah.
Because Sergio,
the new Hasbro MO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Sergio's trying to tell me that it's a remold of ROTF Megatron that makes Shockwave, and he may be right. I won't know till I get it pretty soon. And this once, so he does have a remolded abs. He's got the Dark of the Moon abs, and thought there was something else notable here, but that's pretty much it.
What's the quality of the figure like the QC on yours, at least?
He's now that I haven't actually done much with him since yesterday when I opened him, but it feels pretty tight. I mean, I've heard a lot of. I didn't want this Optimus Prime when they first showed it. I was like, why are you doing a new version of this? But now I see they made a really versatile mold that could be all three of the movie Optimuses that we never got. We really never got this backpack.
I mean, I know we got the one that had the trailer because I had it at one point, but I don't remember what the trailer did, to be honest.
There was a trailer that did nothing, and that was on the deluxe one. And then there was that crazy Ultimate Optimus.
That's the one I had.
Became the mech suit or something.
Okay. Yeah. I can't remember.
Based on like Previs or something. But this is like the spitting image of what came out of the film. And there was I think Fans Want It made some upgrade kits that kind of represented this, and they were awesome. And they went on the leader mold, and they're huge. They're just like the wings are just enormous. So it's nice to actually have, if you're into the movie stuff, it's nice to have a representation that's screen accurate. And since something you said earlier about like Cyberverse and that whole Armada, the gimmick lines, the Studio Series is actually just. Their gimmick is screen accuracy, I'd say, and just transformations that are legit. So they're pretty much like raw Transformers, how we want them.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely like a pure Transformer line. I think it's funny, like when they drop the ball in the screen accuracy, it really shows in that line, which they have done. And they have some that they're just, here's a repaint in the line because we need to pad it, whatever. I get some of that, but yeah, a lot of the stuff they're taking the time to to try to attempt to do it right now that they're not working off of freaking pre-production images and stuff. And it really shows for when they can nail it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm into I'm going to try to put together Devastator because I collect Devastator, and as ridiculous as that thing will be, like I still find
I'm looking forward to it.
I still find the things that I find notable about the movies still are. I don't know. I think they're worth celebrating or remembering. I mean, so you don't remember the bad crud.
I mean, honestly, I felt Devastator was a huge letdown in the movie. But I don't know. The toys sound cool. I like toys that combine, and they have weird ass alien robot modes, which I dig. I always found it kind of odd that every Transformer, they are alien robots, in their natural form is very humanoid. And I get that helps us like empathize and anthropomorphize with them, but sometimes it's always like, man, there should be some weird stuff, so I like having some weird stuff in there.
Yeah, like Demolisher was crazy, and the one I'm really looking forward to is Overload, the one that like never was shown on film except in vehicle mode. Like I just want to see. Yeah, we have the Legend version, but there's like one piece of previs art, so I really want to see how that turns out, and that's the one I think they're waiting till the end. Like that's gonna be the final piece of it.
Got it. So,
I got one more thing to talk about, and it's not so much Transformer related, and it's a little self-serving. So I hope you don't. If you want to, if it gets boring, just cut my ass off or tell me we're done. So the reason there was no TF Talk Weekly is because I was really busy this weekend. I conducted a toy event. I hosted a toy event here in Chicago. And you may have heard me talk about this guy before, but his name is his artist name, his persona is called the Suck Lord, and he makes like bootleg action figures and has been doing it since like 2010. So like, about 10 years, even before that, I think, really.
And there's
when I found out about him about 2010, 2011.
Like, for anybody that's curious about him, there's a video out there. I'm sure it's on YouTube. It's like a 2 to 5 minute video, if I'm remembering correctly, that's talking just about Sucklord. It's like a little small documentary piece about him and him making his toy, or maybe it was just bootleg toys in general and it had him in it. I can't remember.
There's lots out there because I made a playlist for the after party, and it played for 6 hours, and I just like grabbed every video I could find that wasn't 10 minutes long and put it up there, and they projected it on a screen.
Transformer fans are most likely to know him because you might have seen like just the image go around for gay Energon before, and it looks like some male stripper with like, he's all pink with a robot head or something, and like you may have seen like the image that has like 6 or 12 of them like all in a row, like that he did of all of these. It's kind of, I would always kind of picture it as kind of like art house type stuff. I mean, it's obviously funny and it's bootleg and it's silly and it's goofy, and it's expensive because it's all handmade. It's not like he makes 2,000 of these. He makes like 10, I'd assume, or whatever.
Yeah, not very many. I actually have almost all of his Transformer pieces, and the only reason is I had seen them, like you said, like floating around the internet here and there. The thing that I noticed first was the Occupy Cybertron thing, which came up around Occupy Wall Street, and it was like Starscream in a business suit and Shockwave in a business suit, and Megatron was like the kingpin of business, and the Autobots were like supposed to be throwing like Banksy napalm at them, and they were the 1%, and it was like they had all the Energon, and so it was like rooted in social commentary, but it was also like really silly. And one of my friends ended up buying one of those toys, and was like, "Look what I got!" And I was like, "Whoa, you actually got one of those?" Like I didn't know you could actually buy those, and it kind of, once I saw someone else get it, I suddenly was like, oh, well, maybe I should try to get it, because they were Starscreams. And I'm like, well, it's not official. I hate third-party toys. This is different. Like you called it art house, that's exactly what I call it. This is an art house piece. It's like a piece of artwork, but there's enough of them produced where it's collectible. He makes like small batches, 30. So anyways, long story short, I brought him to Chicago because I was just like, come on down. Let's do an event. I want to kind of meet you maybe and see what we can happen. And we put together this event, and he made a toy like based around Chicago. And this is it. It's not Transformer related at all. So this is just kind of on the tier of WTF is going on. But this is apparently, like he calls himself the Suck Lord, and he makes a variety. It started with him making figures of himself with this Boba Fett mask. And that kind of like created the persona that his brand is built around. And so this is like the Chicago gangster version of the Suck Lord. And so the back has like other characters that will never be made, but they're like, there's Greedo. They all have gangster hats on, and they're all like famous, pop culture icons and stuff. And it was pretty cool. It was tough to get people out because this is a very niche thing, and he's never been to Chicago, and it's like, oh, you think, oh yeah, I'll get all the bootleg toy makers in Chicago will come out to this. Well, guess what? There's no bootleg toy maker like Facebook group. You have to. It was hard to promote, but we had quite a few people out here. It was successful. It was fun.
A Transformers fan?
Oh yeah, we talked a lot about it. He's mostly known for his Star Wars stuff. Like the Boba Fett mask, and he made something called it's like the gay stormtrooper, the gay empire is what it's called, like a pink stormtrooper. It's like his most famous piece. Like if anyone knows who he is, that's what they know usually is that piece. But I was able to. So since I put on the event, I was able to get most of the swag, and nice. It's kind of fun. It's personal to me now because it was my thing, and. It was a ton of fun, and I'm really glad he came out and he had a good time, and we all got along, and hopefully we can do something like that again, maybe like in another city or maybe back here again.
Cool. Well, we've been going for about an hour here, so I think it's about time to wrap it. Just want to One last quick little tidbit. Windmill here, of the 4 I mentioned, he's actually a completely unique mold, like new character, new design. Because like the other 3 are Omega Supreme, Scorponok, and Bruticus. So it's interesting that, they made one that's just an actual new character, not based off anything. He's the only one from the Elites. But it's been an eclectic show, so yeah. Action Master Elites,
yeah,
we got Statue, and then we got